Hey line walkers, this is Jamie from IToldYouIWasSick.com, and this is video number 4 in a 26-part series that I'm doing called Why Autistic People Do That. And I got this idea because I posted on a forum the question, name something obvious to neurotypicals that when you discovered it absolutely shocked you. Well, technically that's not a question, but you know what I mean. And I got the most amazing responses. And in doing that, I also learned a lot about my own perception of the world. And in this one, I'm going to be talking about time. I'm going to be talking about rebonding with people because that's basically the point of this video is rebonding with people that you've known for years. This video is going to be called A Stranger at Home. But I've also come to understand that there's another component of this, and that is autistic concept of time, and how ours is definitely different than neurotypical people. I apologize, I need to fix my lighting. So here's what I wrote, and I'm just going to read it out because it makes more sense that way, and then I'll discuss it. Here's another one I've always been confused about. It's only been over the past couple of years that this has slowly dawned on me. The longer you go without talking to a friend or a family member, the more estranged they become from you, until when you finally do get together, there's this awkwardness as though you are among strangers, or worse, an awkwardness like there's something wrong but it's not being talked about. You know, that elephant in the room thing where you're sitting down and it's uncomfortable, but you're familiar with the people, but you're not. It's a very awkward feeling, and I really believe that neurotypical people also go through this. But rebonding is a thing that I'm still struggling with. So here's what else I wrote. Frequent rebonding events seem to be very common with neurotypical people, and they seem to be necessary. It seems to be a need to continue to establish and strengthen bonds. I don't need this. I do miss people, but it takes a very long time for that to happen. It can be anywhere from 3 to 6 months before I'll actually miss somebody, unless I hang around with them all the time, and that's a part of my routine, and that is what I'm used to, and they're always around me. Then if I don't hear from them for a couple of days, then I start to get worried. But usually I don't feel like there's like a need to rebond or reformulate something that's already there. Pardon me. So when I get together with people I already have an established relationship with, for me, it's like we were never apart. But there's a downside to this, and that's where this autistic concept of time comes in. The only downside to this is I've noticed that I have this erroneous belief in my head that the people I've hung out with, say, a year ago, are the exact same people I'm hanging out with now. Now, of course, they're the exact same people, but this not even purposeful thought is basically, the best way I can describe it is it's as though I'm playing The Sims. If you've ever played The Sims, it's a really fun, very addictive game, where you basically pretend to be a person, and you have this life inside the Sim universe, and it's really cool. You have an avatar. So, but what happens is once you close down the game, everything stops. Like, time doesn't go by. People don't, the people in your game, the Sims in your game, don't get up and do things by themselves. Time just stops. I think that's probably the same with most games, although I'm not a gamer, so I don't know. So basically, I see that in my head, there's this belief, but it was never a conscious belief until now, is that when I leave the house, everybody sort of powers down. I don't actually believe that, but it's like I leave and then I take my perspective with me. And autistic people have problems with theory of mind, so we can't put ourselves into another person's shoes, so to speak. It can be very difficult to do this. This is not something that comes naturally to people on the spectrum. It's something we can learn to do, but it's not something that comes naturally like it does for neurotypical people. So I walk out, I leave, I get in my car, I go home, and let's say I don't see these people for another 3 to 6 months, maybe to a year. I go over, we've got the awkwardness, we've got the, I feel kind of like a stranger in a strange land or a familiar land, whichever. And the only the reason I notice this behavior and this thought in my head is because I have a niece and she's adorable. And she does this weird thing called growing up. So I understand that babies grow up. I understand she's not going to stay tiny. She's going to get bigger. But I don't know. You don't notice the change on adults within 3 to 6 months or a year. That people don't change that much physically. So I think I noticed that I have this perception because of my niece and because she does get bigger and she gets taller and she changes and it's an obvious change. So that made me think to myself, oh, I think in the back of my mind, it's like when I leave, everything just stops. And then, so nobody's having any life experiences, which of course they are. Logically, I know this, but it's just my brain. So I may be able to, like, let's say, go over to somebody's house and talk to them about a certain topic, and then 6 months go by and everything's changed. There could have been a death in the family. There could have been some sort of tragedy. There could have been a divorce. Something could have happened. And then sometimes I forget and I'm just talking to them as though they are the same person completely and utterly, like no time has gone by, that they were 6 months ago. So if anybody wants to help me describe this better, please do. If you're an autistic person, definitely get in there on the comments and just be like, this is what you're experiencing, because it's really hard to explain and I feel like I'm rambling and I apologize for that. So the point of this video is about the need for rebonding, and it seems to be more of a neurotypical thing. Not having a good concept of time as an autistic person, not having good theory of mind as an autistic person, and what that does for relationships, and maybe, just maybe, and I'm figuring this out right now, that's what causes that feeling of unfamiliarity, because it's almost like I'm coming from a different time period. They're here. Well, it's hard to do this because, but they're here and I'm kind of here. And last year you were here, so you should still be here at the same time. You should still be here. Why are you not here? So I have trouble growing with people unless I experience them all the time. So that is my video. This is about bonding and concept of time. And if you have this issue, please let me know. Comment, and maybe you can put it into much better words than I did. And also, if you would like to see the rest of the videos in my series, if you're on YouTube, I will leave a link in the description below. I will leave you links to those videos. If you are on Facebook or any other social media, I will just link one of the YouTube videos and then you can check the rest of them out from there. So this has been video number 4, and I thank you for listening, and I will see you in video number 5.